Hello and good evening, everyone. I think we can start our class now because now the other student joined us. So with two students, we can start the class. I think if you agree, we can start. Please let me know that you can hear me very well or not. Okay, Mr. Mohammed, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Ahadi, can you hear me? Alright, let us start. Okay, today I want to talk about the conceptual framework that is one of the important parts in your research. We talk about the conceptual framework and also about the paradigm and research philosophy. Okay, for overview, research methodology course covering two parts, conceptual and methodological, and application, meaning that management issues and problems faced by organization action research. So, because you are doing MBA, it means that your research is related to some area of management and business. So, your research should be two parts. The first one is conceptual and methodological, the theory, alright, and the second one is about action research. That it is about the issue that you want to investigate or the problem that you want to solve with in your research. So to draw management implication and recommendation. So all the research that you do, the final key for your research is the implication and recommendation. So you do the research because you want to solve the problem or solve the issue or investigate the problem or something. So it means if you do the research without any recommendation and suggestion and implication, so it means that your research doesn't have any point in terms of action, okay? So it shouldn't, your research shouldn't be like this because you do the management research. So the outline for today's presentation is the conceptual framework. So about conceptual framework, I will present the definition of conceptual framework and where the conceptual framework appears in your research, developing the conceptual framework, the presentation of conceptual framework, and what is the good and bad of conceptual framework. And then also two slides, I think, about the research philosophy and research paradigm and flow chart of the research process. So what is the conceptual framework? A written or visual presentation that explains either graphically or in narrative form the weighting to be student, the key factor, concept, or variable, and the perceived relationship among them. So when you talk about the conceptual framework, you should explain about the factor, concept, variable, and also relationship between them, okay? So in other words, if you want to put the conceptual framework, so preparing a conceptual framework can be linked can be like the planning a holiday. Okay, if you want to get the idea about the conceptual framework, so you can imagine the planning a holiday. It is something same as conceptual framework. The purpose of the pre-planning of the holiday is to know how to get there and return from your holiday destination, okay? Now what to do when you are at the destination, when you are at the destination, and to be better prepared and able to make the most of your holiday, because you can be guided by your previous experience and by any information provided by others. So, like preparing a plan for the holiday, when you prepare your research, the conceptual framework, like preparing the plan for holiday, you should know about that, how you want to get the research, from where you want to start, how you want to finish it, and where is the destination, like the holiday, where is the destination of your research, okay? And what and when and how you want to do to get this destination, meaning that do your research. But is this pre-planning a metaphor applicable to both quantitative and qualitative research in terms of conceptual framework and research process? As you remember, we talked about two methods of collecting data, so quantitative and qualitative. So for doing the conceptual framework, it depends on that your research is qualitative or quantitative. So if your research is quantitative, meaning that your research the collection of data most based on the questionnaire, okay? So we do the quantitative research, so the conceptual framework comes after literature review. If you see this slide, first you have a research problem, the issue of theoretical or practical interest, and that I ask you to put your research problem in your chapter 1, okay? Then you come to paradigm and aims and objective. This is another important part of chapter 1. And then you do the literature review in chapter 2, so a critical and evaluating review of thought and experience of others. And then come to the conceptual framework. Conceptual framework provides the structure for the whole study based on the literature and personal experience. About paradigm, I will explain in some later slides. And then you have a research question and data collection and analysis of data, and finally you come to the evaluating your research. And this is important that when you put the conceptual framework, for example, after literature review, then again at the end of the research you should revisit your conceptual framework and update it and see whether you come up to your conceptual framework, you follow it or no, or if you make some changes, or should you repeat your conceptual framework, rewrite it again or not. So this is very important that one of the most things for evaluation of your research is the revisit conceptual framework, alright? So where does the conceptual framework fit in quantitative? Quantitative is the research that most basically based on the interview, right? So research problem come first, and then paradigm and aims and objective and literature review and research question, data collection, and then you can come to the conceptual framework, develop as a participant, views and issues are gathered and analyzed, and evaluation the research. And again, you can revisit conceptual framework. Is my voice clear now, Mr. Ahmed? Hello, is it clear now? Is it better now? What about now? Is it okay? Alright. Okay, I hope you can hear me very well. I'm trying to find that, but there are some problems that might be okay. So I try to press and more loud. Okay, again, come back to the list of the definition of the conceptual framework in your research. So if you have a qualitative research, the position of the conceptual framework that I mentioned in previous slide. So normally qualitative work is described as starting from a deductive position, seeking to build up the theory with conceptual framework being emergent because existing literature to define. Okay? So if you do a qualitative, so the qualitative approach of research reductive, and you build up the theory and also you can do the conceptual work. However, Miles and Oberman in 1974 note that researchers generally have some idea of what will feature in this study, the tentative rudimentary conceptual framework, and it's better to have some idea of what you are looking for, and even if the idea changes over the time, it's particularly true for inexperienced and concentrate of researchers. So because of this maybe happen in your research, it's better that you revisit your conceptual framework and end up your research again. And if you do a qualitative research, so it can be confirmatory, and in 1994 mentioned this, and for example, identified pattern matching and explanation building. Pattern matching is started with the theory and tested in terms of explanation, the finding, and the explanation building, and then you can come to the collecting and analyzing the data. Maybe as a step, this slide is not very clear to you because now you are doing the first chapter. Because of this, I asked you to do the research step by step and follow my presentation. But because we don't have any other chance, and I should present the whole of the research methodology, and then maybe I will see your research by end of the class, and maybe what you want to do is totally in your before your deadline. So maybe this slide is not very clear to you now, but just have a look of them, and you can consider some important points. And when you want to write your research again, come back to this slide and review them. Because when you are doing so practically, so this slide will be useful, they can help you a lot. So now I don't know in which step of your research are you now, but I think because up to now I didn't receive any topic, so I don't think so that you are in the chapter of conceptual framework or something like this. So maybe it sounds not very familiar with you, this slide, okay? But I ask you to be patient and make note, and when you want to do this part, when you get to the conceptual framework in your research, again, come to see this slide. hear me now? Alright. I just mentioned that maybe because you are not doing research parallelly with the syllabus of the social psychology class, and because I didn't haven't started research yet, okay? So maybe because of this problem, the slide cannot appear in this much, right? So I just asked you to follow me and to have a look at this slide, but when you get this part, then you can like see the slide and I mentioned. I hope this time you can. Alright, back to our presentation. And what includes developing a conceptual framework. Experiential knowledge of students and supervisor, technical knowledge, research background, personal experience, data, and of course the future review. All of them can help conceptual framework. How might the conceptual framework be developed? I mentioned in the last slide. Also, the pieces of conceptual framework are borrowed from the researcher to provide the structure. To develop the structure, you identify the keywords, using subject area, first one keywords of your topic. Also, you can some parts in your chapter 1 and then mention paper, so you can mention your keywords. Also in your conceptual framework, draw out the key things. For example, you have already written about the subject area and take one key concept, idea, or trend and brainstorm. All of them can offer the coding in your conceptual framework. Okay, what general forms one conceptual framework takes? Okay, process framework and continental framework. So when you want to write your conceptual framework, you should think about process. First of all, process of framework, so how you can manage the process of the conceptual framework, alright? And then think about the content of the framework. So then you think about the process of framework, and then think about how much. Okay, set out the stages, through which an action moves from initiation to conclusion, alright, to the how. And when you think about the content of your framework, you should follow the question of why, alright? So, and answer the why question. So, this is important that you know that conceptual framework have a process and concept. And what is the basic form behind the conceptual framework? Okay, the practice includes flowchart, tree diagram, shape-based diagram, triangle, concentric circle, overlapping circle, alright, mind map, all of them is valid for the conceptual framework. You can do it by writing or just follow chart or concentric circle, triangle, everything. And show all of the important part that I mentioned here. Show process and concept. The positive point of conceptual framework is that why are conceptual frameworks are useful? Why is the useful good conceptual framework in your research? Because first, the ability to move beyond the description of what, explanation of why and how. Because when you conceptual framework. So you think about why and how, as well as the what. Okay. In the conceptual framework, researchers think about why and how as well. A means of setting out an explanation that might be to define and make sense of the data that follow from the research question. So there is a process that follows from the research question, and referring to for selecting appropriate research question and related data collection method. So when you have a conceptual framework, you can understand that each question is more better, is more appropriate, and related to the collection of the method. You can get the idea about the relationship between research question, research object better, and you can put the appropriate research question. A reference point, a structure for the discussion of the researcher methodology and research, and the boundaries of the work. When you have a conceptual framework in your research, so you know all about the limitation of boundaries. This is very good because you have the configuration for your research. And the bad thing about the conceptual framework, negative point, is that maybe it causes the initial bias or ongoing bias, but the solution of don't have negative point of conceptual framework is that to revisit the conceptual framework after evaluating your work. As I mentioned in the first of my presentation, that if you want to have just positive points of conceptual framework after you finish your work, again revisit conceptual framework and update it. So as a conclusion, the overall contribution of the conceptual framework, you can say that conceptual framework encapsulates the research and sets out the focus on content, and also conceptual framework acts as the link between the researcher, methodology, and their results. And thus it can be the focal point of the evaluating of originality in terms of the criteria outlined by Hart, for example, is what has been focused on the entire review. Is the way the subject is investigated different to the normal approach and has new light being shed on previous exploratory issues. So when you put the conceptual framework, you can be more confident about the newness of your research, about the normal approach that you can take in your research, and about the new light that sheds on of the previous exploration. Okay, about the research philosophy, just as we said that you know about the research philosophy as a definition, research philosophy relates to the development of knowledge and the nature of the knowledge, and contains important assumptions about the way in which you view the world. Okay, so we can say that thinking about research philosophy, we can have two dimensions: ontology, epistemology, and pragmatism. Okay, aspects of ontology is objectivism and subjectivism, and aspects of philosophy can be positivism, realism, interpretative, and axiology. I ask you just to see this slide and have a background of this in your mind, but it doesn't focus on exactly what does it mean and how you can do in your research. These are only definition techniques, when you have the methodology class. And about research paradigm that you think necessary and design aspects of paradigm. So the definition of research paradigm is a way of examining social phenomena from which particular understanding of the phenomena can be gained an explanation and analysis. And for example, four of the paradigms are functionally, radical, and this is the value chart of the concept that you can see the full chapter of the research value chart. You can see that whether how scientists are and how to work started from problem discovery solution and then end by hear me? Hello, can you hear me now? Okay, Mr. Mivet, I don't know what's your problem. I think your system got some problem because the other student, Mr. Ahadi, can hear me, but you have a problem that cannot hear me. Maybe your system or maybe your computer. I'm not sure. And because in my system, besides your name, there's no any icon. Okay, there's no icon that show you can hear. So I think your system got some problem. Right, if you have any question, you can ask me now. Or if you want to talk about your topic, you can talk now. All right. If you remember, last class, I talked about two kinds of approach in the research, deductive and inductive. Okay. So now I find some examples from the website that you can get more idea about deductive reasoning or approach and deductive. Okay, for deductive approach, an example. Okay, an example of deductive reasoning can be seen in this set of statements. Every day I leave for work in my car at 8 o'clock. Every day the drive to work takes 45 minutes. I arrive to work on time. Therefore, if I leave for work at 8 o'clock today, I will be on time. So the deductive statement above is a perfect logical statement, but it does rely on the initial premise being correct. perhaps today there is a construction on the way to work and you will end up being late. This is why any hypothesis can never be completely proved, because there's always the possibility of the initial premise to be wrong. Okay, so I think the problem solved. Masami, can you hear me now? Because now the icon beside your name back. Hello, Mr. Mirvis, can you hear me? Okay, so again I review this example. So if you do the deductive, meaning that every day I leave for work in my car at 8 o'clock, so every day drive to work takes 45, and at this way I will be at work on time. Therefore, then you conclude that I leave for work at 8 every day, and that means be on time on your work. If you do the research like this, so meaning that if you do the deductive research, okay? So now exactly this example, if you want to convert to inductive reasoning, okay? Here I explain for you deductive. Now the example for inductive. Okay, an example of inductive reasoning can be this set of a statement. Today I left for work at 8 o'clock and I arrived on time. Therefore, every day that I leave the house at 8 o'clock, I will arrive to work on time. Alright, so while inductive reasoning is commonly used in science, it is not always logically valid because it's not always accurate to assume that a general principle is correct. The example above, perhaps today is a weekend with less traffic, so if we left the house at 8 o'clock on Monday, it would take longer and you would be late for work. It is illogical to assume an entire premise just because one specific data set seems to suggest it. So, okay, I think alright, so viewers, I just shared a slide, the web content as an example of deductive and inductive approach. That if you remember, last class we talked about two approaches of the research, inductive and deductive. So today I bring some slides about example, okay, example of inductive and deductive approach. But I don't know what's the problem that you cannot see the slide. Maybe try another one. Can you see this? I hope that you can see this slide. This is another example for deductive and inductive. Okay, I tried to write in the chat box as well. So, for example, if you want to talk about deductive argument, okay, if they say all men are mortal, permits that all men are mortal, and Socrates was a man, okay, so conclusion, Socrates was mortal. This is right here for you. Okay. The first permit that we have and this is a slide that I shared after the presentation, okay? So I don't know what's the problem that you can't able to see this slide. Just I put in the chat box, okay? Follow the chat box. So this is the deductive example, alright? Okay, if we want to talk about the deductive reasoning, so if we say all men are mortal as the first premise that we have. Okay. And then the second premise is Socrates was a man. So conclusion, Socrates was mortal. Can you get the point now, Mr. Vives? Okay. So if we do the deductive reasoning or a deductive approach, and example like this, that they permit that all men are mortal. The second permit, Socrates was a man. So if we conclude that Socrates was mortal, it means that the process of the approach that we use in our research is deductive. Okay. Now, if we want to do as an inductive, the example looks like this. The first premise, Socrates was Greek. Most Greeks eat fish. So conclusion, Socrates ate fish. If we do as this reasoning, so it means we do inductive. Alright, this is the example that you can compare how you do the inductive and how you do deductive approach or reasoning in your research. I will email these two examples to you because I think you cannot see the slide. Alright, I will email to you. Alright, if you have any question, you can ask me now. I think Mr. Vives leave the class. Yeah, just left, yeah. So, Mr. Ahad, if you have any question, you can ask me. If you want talk about your topic also, you can talk now and ask me any question related to your topic. Okay. So if you don't have any question, we can finish the class. Can you see the slide, Mr. Ahadi, or you cannot see? Mr. Ahadi, can you see the slides, the example about deductive and inductive research? All right. So thank you, and I hope you have a very good weekend. All right, Mr. Ahadi, you will send me your topic later. Okay, no problem. You can send it by next week. Any other questions? Okay, about the slides that now I present about example of the deductive and inductive research. If you cannot see the slides, don't worry, I will email to you. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope you have a good weekend. And I ask you to send me your topic as soon as possible, that we can have a discussion on your topic and finalize your topic, that you can start doing the first chapter of the research. Thank you very much. Good night and bye.